Disputed July 16 governorship election in Osun State. The legal battle regarding the outcome is now over. The Supreme Court has affirmed the election of Senator Ademola Adeleke of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) as the governor of Osun State, delivering judgment on the appeal filed by the candidate of the All Progressive Congress (APC) in the election, Boyega Oyetola. Five-member panel of the Apex Court held that the Court of Appeal was right to have reinstated Adeleke as governor. Let's share the reaction of Governor Adeleke with you.
In the history of Osun politics, today is the day our God ordained to stamp his authority as the owner and giver of power. Today is that moment when the will of the people ordained by God survive the anti-masses plot of powerful forces. We therefore celebrate God Almighty, the author and finisher of our faith. We dedicate today victory to him as we finally assume the governorship of this great state of living strength. State power is of God, and he bestows it on whoever he wishes. I will remain God-driven, divinely inspired, governing with the fear of God. Our governorship is an affirmation that a government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Duly, it's done and dusted. Yes. Senator Ademola Adeleke is the undisputed governor.
Is the governor.
It's the governor.
Yes.
It has been arrested.
As affirmed by the highest court in the land. There is nowhere to take the case to. Once the final court has given its judgment, everyone has to abide by it and see what lessons can be learned from the judgment. This is the final court, and of course they gave their reasons, and I'm sure the pronouncement of the Supreme Court would have some impact on future litigations, future cases similar to this. The pronouncement of the Apex Court today will have some impact, will help in deciding some cases that could be similar to this. As far as the Apex Court was concerned, the appellants, that's Oyetola's lawyers, failed to prove allegation of non-accreditation as well as overvoting in 774 polling units across 10 local governments. It also held that Adeleke was more than qualified to contest the election because, according to the Supreme Court, the appellants didn't bring the institution that awarded the certificate to him to prove whether the certificate was genuine or otherwise. That's another reason that
certificate forgery.
Yes, that they should have brought the institution to say, look, this certificate did not emanate from us and all that. So the Apex Court crucially affirmed that the failure of the second judge to write his own judgment, to put his views in writing, rendered the judgment a nullity. What happened was it was a split decision. The person who read the lead judgment, he had it in writing. This second judge merely signed. He didn't put it in writing. He didn't put his own thoughts his thoughts aligned with the thoughts of the judge who read the lead judgment. But he did not. In doing that, he should have written it to say, I agree with so person along these lines and all that. He merely signed.
On a technical ground.
So the Supreme Court said that by not putting his decision
down
in writing, that it rendered that judgment, that earlier judgment, a nullity. This is, whereas at the level of the appeal court, the appeal court ruled that it did not matter, that it did not put, that she did not put, or he, maybe they use he for everybody in the judiciary. The appeal court ruled that it did not matter, that it did not write. But the Supreme Court saw it differently and said that it should have been written down. No, you shouldn't simply sign. That you should have written your own judgment. Yes, your judgment aligns with that of the person who read the lead judgment, but you should have put that in writing. So because they didn't do that, it was fatal to the, it rendered the judgment a nullity. The Apex Court also argued that the appellants did not prove the matter of overvoting. You know, that they should have presented the beavers machine and presented the voters register.
That's a long thing.
Yes, that they should have presented the voters register to prove overvoting in those 774 polling units spread across 10 local governments. Now, so the Supreme Court said that the appellants relied on a secondary, insufficient, and inadmissible method of proof by failing to present the genuine voter accreditation data from the beavers. So what this simply means, Ayo, is that you cannot, that the court will not rely on information about the record, the turnout of voters, the record of accreditation that is uploaded to the back-end server. You can see the significance of this.
With pen and paper.
We know we were talking yesterday about the
From EC8A.
From EC8A.
Yes.
Being the primary source. Now, they are saying that relying on what is uploaded, that the Beavers report uploaded to the back end is inadmissible because neither the Act nor the Constitution makes it compulsory to do that. There is a correlation between this and what we have been talking about since February 25. Lawyers will understand the point that I'm making because, yes, and I'm sure you understand, which will have some far-reaching consequences.
What we are dealing with right now.
So if they will not admit that Beavers report, if they will not admit it in Supreme Court, and they will say, go and bring voter register, that you must use voter register to prove overvoting. I really don't know how. You know, I brought this up when that matter came up that first time. That was when people were abusing me. Because I felt, are we going back to 2011? Because technology should be able to help us determine overvoting and all that. So if Beavers report is not admissible, Beavers report uploaded onto the back-end server, if it's not admitted, look at the way it is described as secondary, insufficient, and inadmissible method. IREV is there, but that is a matter for another day.
Yika, so Governor Itola tried his best, got to the Supreme Court level, and he still has, maybe in 4 years' time, he can still come back and contest.
Well,
but for now,
well,
the next 4 years.
There has been something like that has happened. It happened in Ekiti State. Fayemi lost in 4 years.
Came back.
He came back. So, but you see, in all this, what becomes surprising is, what then is the fate or the usefulness of beavers? Because from what we have seen, billions of naira was invested on beavers. So if it is not being admitted, if it becomes inadmissible as evidence, then what is? But all said and done, I think when you look at the trend, even from the first win, it has to go into supplementary election before he won. And it was just a very minor margin. And with this one that has happened, I guess politicians will begin to know that performance matters, relationship with the electorate also matter.
Yes.
If you only base your second coming or that you are going to win based only on performance, it will not work.
It doesn't work.
Because there must be human relation and there must be things that you will do.
And you must get your politics right.
Exactly. Don't wait on, because in all honesty, whether people will agree with us or not, what happened in Osun State is exactly like what happened to PDP at the federal level in 2023 election. Some of the leaders of the party in the states, directly or indirectly, were not in support of the governor. So, how do you expect that those who support such, especially the Minister of Interior, those who supported him or who support him, will not work for the governor? So it will affect, no matter how minor it is. In fact, from the result, you will see that if he had had the support, or if the party had been won, what happened will likely not have happened. But it teaches that in everything,
there is no guarantee that.
In everything you do, you must always take yourself and your supporters seriously. Because the moment you begin to think that it is only when elections are coming that you take your other opponents seriously, it might be too late.
For the politics of it, the APC had some had internal wranglings before the election and everything. Did that substantially affect the outcome?
I don't think that, maybe to an extent, yes. But there is no guarantee that if they were together, they will still win. Because when they were together 4 years ago, we saw what happened. They needed to go for a run. Because the man won by the first ballot. Don't also forget, previous elections held, the by-election, the senatorial by-election. Yeah. You saw what happened. He lost only one local government. He cleared the rest. There was another by-election in Ife, which the PDP won. So the PDP had actually been showing strength in Osun. I would not agree with anyone who simply say, oh, it's because they had a quarrel. They had been strong. And there were conditions that even angered people and made them to vote against the APC. Remember, students were at home, and Osun election recorded the highest turnover of young people in recent times. They were at home, schools were shut, people were angry, and they showed their anger in the election. We talked about it here. One factor does not determine the outcome of an election. It's usually the accumulation of factors.
So many factors.
But you know, how did Adeleke get into the Senate? He had to win a by-election in overwhelming fashion because he won all the local government except one. So that should have given a sign that, look, these people are coming. Then when the governorship election came, you also saw his performance against an incumbent, the ruling party. It did very well. The ruling party was behind. They needed a rerun to overtake him. So even if they were together, it probably would still have been the same outcome. Because when I saw the way the election went, especially in Osogbo municipal, it was not what I expected. It means that the civil servants on their own decide to rebel against the government. I think we've even discussed that when we looked at the local government by local government at that time, why the election went that way. You know, Top and other people quarreled with Oyetola. I'm convinced that even if they were together, they could still have lost that election. Maybe the margin won't be this wide, but they could still have won that election, because even in the strongholds of the party, we saw the performance of the PDP. So it's this is the way I see it. The presidential election did not go the way of PDP.
Okay.
So, and you will expect that, okay, the presidential election should be different. Because they were saying that, look, for the presidential election, we are going to vote for Asiwaju. But in the end, it was still PDP that won. So there is strength there, which we have to admit, and they have been building that strength over time.
All right.